previously on the audio files.
In your honor, Dave is going to attempt, by the time the show's over, to break his personal best record for the number of times he has correctly pronounced your name, which is something that we've become a tradition here on the show as well.
It's not Alanna, just ask my friend Dave.
Chins up, boobs out, it's showtime.
Time for music.
Civilized conversation.
Wherever the music takes me, kitten.
Scott Edward Phelps.
Ah, yes, the legendary wit, or at least half of it.
Dave Simmons.
Good evening, Dave.
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Tell you right out, I'm a man who likes talking to a man who likes to...
The most important music show ever.
Cue inspirational music.
The Audio Files.
Tell me your story. Throw me some lines. Then I'll make you famous, one word at a time. You'll be a bestseller, a king or a queen. 'Cause I got the right stuff, if you know what I mean. Call me Alanna. Alanna's the name. It's not Alanna. Just ask my friend Dave. Call me Alanna. You can say it with ease. Alanna, like Atlanta, with no T's.
Hey everyone, it's Taylor, and this is part 2 of the Alanna Nash interview on the audio files.
So you got Dolly Parton. I was trying to think, because my innate nature to want to one-up everything. The only thing I can offer in the way of celebrity relations that I'm aware of is that I was told that like 2 or 3 times removed, I'm related to the Younger brothers. Remember Cole Younger and Bob?
Yeah.
They rode with Jesse James.
Yes.
Which kind of figures.
It does kind of figure.
Yeah, I fit in right with that. But yeah.
Kind of a renegade.
I was thinking Sherman Hemsley from the Jeffersons. I don't know why I was thinking that.
That you're related to Sherman
that
Hemsley?
you are.
Oh, that I'm related to Sherman Hemsley.
To whom?
Sherman Hemsley.
Who played George Jefferson on the Jeffersons. Yeah.
Where we're moving on now, to the side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Yes.
It must be my dark skin that gives it away. Yeah.
Oh, my.
When it comes to podcasting, I'm moving on up, too. So just be careful about that. All right. AI nailed. I think that was pretty cute. Let me see what AI's got for the number 2 question here. Okay, this is kind of more of the same, but for fun. You get to host, this is for you, Alanna, you get to host a dinner party with 5 people that you've written about or you've interviewed. Now, the goal is not necessarily harmony or compatibility. The goal is simply maximum fascinating conversation. Oh, my goodness. Who do you invite to sit at your table and have a chat?
Oh, my goodness. 5 people.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have Dolly.
Sure.
You got to have Elvis.
Okay.
You got to have Jessica Savage to write about it afterward.
Okay.
That's 3.
Let's see.
And remember now, it doesn't have to be anybody you've written about per se. Book-wise, You can be interviewees as well. Or Dave is looking like he wants to be invited, but I'm not.
Dave doesn't get invited anywhere.
Well, the 2 people who kind of sprang to mind were Hollywood types.
Yeah.
Joan Crawford, who I knew very well, and Katharine Hepburn, who I did not know, but had a phone conversation with and some correspondence.
When you say you knew Joan Crawford very well, what do you mean?
Yeah. When I was in college, at Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri, in the late 60s and early 70s, Joan Crawford came to campus because she was opening a Pepsi Cola plant nearby.
Right.
She was married to head of Pepsi Cola.
Alfred Steele.
Exactly.
I know some useless shit. I can't tell you why.
Yeah.
I just do, yeah.
Yeah, and she came because as a freshman, she had been enrolled at Stevens College, but had to drop out pretty quickly. But she had written about Stevens in one of her books. So she came, and I covered her visit for the paper and walked around campus with her. And I assumed that everybody who was at the press conference got a thank you note, but I got one. So being a teenager, I thought that was really big stuff, and I answered her. And she wrote back. Now, these are very superficial letters from her.
Sure.
But still, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when I came home and spent a year writing about D.W. Griffith and early cinema, and then I went to graduate school in New York City. Well, that's where she lived. So we had kept up this correspondence this whole year. And so when I went to New York, she had me over quite frequently. And it was in the last years of her life. She was in her 60s and didn't have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And was pretty peculiar. probably an alcoholic. I remember there was a case of gin, I think it was, in the bedroom closet.
Yeah. That's where I keep mine.
Yeah, that's the only place to keep
erratic
gin.
behavior. Sorry?
I said the only place to keep gin in the bedroom closet.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, bedroom closet. Erratic behavior. I remember she thought somebody was trying to kill her at one point, so this is kind of sad. She would answer the door in sunglasses and a wig in case somebody was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I took my childhood sweetheart over there to play backgammon with her. She had a specially made backgammon table, and she was not easy to be around, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
And he got intimidated pretty quickly, and she just beat the socks off of him in backgammon, and she turned to me and she kind of snapped, "I thought you said he could play backgammon." So that gives you an idea.
So she wasn't prone to the kind of sense of humor that if you gave her as a fun gift at Christmas time as a gag, a box of wire hangers, that probably wouldn't have gone over either, right?
Oh, God.
No wire hammer.
That's right. And that was probably, that famous line, probably related to abortions. That's my guess.
The old double entendre. There you go.
That's my guess. Hi, this is Alanna Nash, and you're listening to the Audio File.
No wire hangers ever!
You just keep me hanging up.
This is a twofold question. This is fun, finding out. I'm finding out. See, I thought I knew a lot of stuff about you because we've talked many times. I've read up on you. I've been, in some manner or another stalking you for at least the last 10 years. So that's why I sent you the books that ended up in the archive. Not that I keep plugging the books, but that's okay.
I'm glad that they're here.
Well, me too. For all the good, you can put them under a coffee table, keep it from wobbling. It's all kinds of useful stuff you can do there.
You're a very creative guy.
Thank you. I'm actually related to the guy who plays George Jefferson on the Jeopardy.
Oh, God.
And I want to thank you, by the way. That has nothing to do with the Jeffersons, and I haven't shared this publicly because I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. And I know we were kidding around when we first started talking about this a show or two back, but I want to tell you something. Everybody in my immediate circle has been telling me how much better I smell, and it's because of Nolo. And I never knew about that until we did that episode with you.
Oh, gosh, I took a drink of water at the wrong time.
He keeps a case of it in the bedroom.
Only the talent that is Alanna Nash can come on an audio-only podcast and do a spit take and still get laughs for it. I think that's pretty cool. Good on you, girl. All right, here's AI. Here's AI's next. We're almost done with this. Here's AI's numero 3. It says, years of interviewing, conversation, visitation, years of studying, research, dissecting other people's lives. This is kind of a two-pronged question. Who, if anybody, surprised you the most? And have you ever had any, and I'm reading this verbatim, have you ever had any moments with interviewees? Now, take that for what I would interpret that as something that perhaps put you at risk or something that you didn't really want to know about them. So I think that's kind of the same question in two different versions. What surprised you the most, or who did? And have you ever had any moments in your interviewing? And feel free to say that you do, but you can't say because we don't want to get you in trouble or make you have to be rude.
Oh, that's okay.
You wouldn't do that.
That's all right.
Well, you're a moxie chick, so you can say what you want to say, but we want to give you every opportunity to be genteel as you also are. So what do you got?
Well, I should probably think about this before I answer this, but we don't have time for me to think through all.
No, we got time, and we never think about what we're saying before we say it, so there's no reason you should have to worry about it.
Well, I think one person who I went to the interview just kind of writing him off and leaving it, being really impressed with him and feeling a lot of affection for him. Uh-huh. And that was, of all people, Conway Twitty.
Huh. Okay.
I hated those cheating songs. Mm-hmm. Just hated that kind of country music.
Hello, darling.
What?
Hello, darling.
Yeah.
Hello, darling. Hello, darling was among my least favorite.
Hello, darling. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. You're just as lovely as you used to be.
And what was that tight-fitting jeans or some such.
That was what it was called, tight-fitting jeans.
Yeah, tight-fitting jeans.
And I know I held more woman than most eyes have ever seen. That night I knew a lady wearing tight-fitting jeans.
I did like his duets with Loretta, who was one of my personal favorites.
Hey, Louisiana woman,
Mississippi man,
we get together every time we can. The Mississippi River can't keep us apart. There's too much love in this Mississippi heart.
too much love in this Louisiana heart.
But he was really smart, and he was well-spoken and fun and funny. And I became very, very fond of him. And because of that, I think I looked at his work differently.
I don't think I've ever shared this with you because I don't think Conway's ever come up in our conversations. But you and I have yet another kindred spirit / connection. I remember about 2 episodes back, I made the remark that you and I showed up in Nashville about the same time and were there for about the same length of time, and that we never crossed paths. Here's another one for you. Catch this out. During my writing days, I wrote as a staff songwriter for several companies, including an outfit called Merit Music. It was run by Dave Burgess, who had been in the Champs back in the 60s with Tequila and all that. Tequila. And I was married. She was a singer-songwriter, and she knew. And we ended up doing backup vocals for a fellow who produced independent records there in Nashville, a guy named Mike Daniel. And Mike knew Kathy Twitty, and she was going to do an album because she wanted to be a star. And long story short, as a result of that, we ended up having a relationship, friendship, kind of collaboration thing with Kathy for the better part of about a year. And we were invited at one summer day out to Twitty City to have a little barbecue by the pool with Kathy and her sister and buddies. And that's all it was of the gang. Conway was on the road, so we thought we might meet him, we might not, whatever. We did. In fact, we were, I don't remember what day or month it was, but it was summertime, whatever it was. And we were out there by the pool with the barbecue grill going and everything. And Conway, turned out, was back in town, and he was sleeping in the house. And at some point, he realized something was going on. So he wandered out in his flip-flops and his Bermuda shorts and said hello around and grabbed himself a hot dog and was making small talk. And at the time he came out, we had a boombox going there by the pool, but we were playing, instead of playing like big hits of the day, we were playing our own home demos, and we all brought our own cassettes or CDs or whatever with our various songs on them. And at the moment that Conway walked out, it was playing one of the songs that I had written with my then wife. And this is all studio demo quality. It wasn't finished recordings, but it was still quality stuff. It wasn't junk or work tapes or anything. Something in one of the songs caught Conway's ear, and he walked over to the boombox, and he stood there munching on his Frankfurter, and he was looking at the boombox as the song was going. And I think that was my wife, was Kim. She was singing the song, but it was one that I had primarily written, and she and I had shored up. And he stood there and listened to the whole thing. And when it was over with, he turned around, and kind of this small, and the whole group was probably more than about 10 or 12 people. He turned around and he looked around in general, and he goes, "Who wrote this song?" And me being bashful, it took me 0.7 seconds to get right up there like a Bugs Bunny cartoon sound effect. There I was, and I said, "Well, I did." Well, actually, my wife and I did. Kim, Kim. "Oh, how Kim? How you doing?" And he stood there and thought for a couple of seconds, and then he looked at the boombox, and then he looked at the two of us. Hand to God, he goes, "Why aren't you two rich?" Now, that was the nicest compliment I think I ever got about anything that I wrote, but me being me, I wasn't about to miss an opportunity, and I said, "Well, because you haven't recorded any of our damn songs yet, what's the deal?" Yeah. And he had a good laugh out of that. Well, as it turned out, he did, in fact, record, and it wasn't that song that he had listened to, but there was another one of mine that he recorded in, I think it was on the Don't Call Me a Cowboy album, circa whatever. And
I had no idea.
Yeah, and the song is called "Take It Like a Man." Next time you're thinking Conway, oh, there you go. Dave looks there.
I'll take it like a man and watch you walk away. I'll take it like a man. You'll never know. I feel the blow. I should get down on my knees, but I was raised to take a stand, hide my tears, and take it like a man.
So there you go. Small world, Conway Twitty. And you're right. He was delightful. And we chatted for a while, and he hung around for a little while, not a long time, because he wanted to go back and finish his nap or whatever he was doing. He grabbed himself another hot dog and said goodbye to everybody. But he wasn't the big pompous guy you thought he might be, and the sexuality of the songs was just...
That's right.
Like Vince Fernier is a real sweetheart, and Alice Cooper is a demonic, satanic, etc. It's an act. It's an act and a posture, and there you go. So, yeah, Conway. Harold Jenkins. There you are.
That's right, Harold Jenkins. Exactly right.
Good for you.
I found him to be just a very down-to-earth, interesting, smart, neat guy.
Yeah, and gone much too soon, and sadly in one of those the Lord mysterious ways things that makes me crazy as a writer and everything else. So
abdominal aneurysm.
On the road, and he was in his early 50s, I think, at the time.
I can't remember.
He didn't make 60. I remember that. And I'm more aware of that now than I ever have been. I've been looking stuff like that up lately, because people in my orbit are starting to disappear. So you and I are of the same ilk, so there we go. All right, before we all get too old and too going on.
Wait.
59.
You didn't let me say who the difficult one was.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you had one. Yes, please. Drop that name.
I had 2 shots at this, and they were equally disastrous.
Okay.
Yoko Ono.
Oh, Yoko. Oh, Yoko. My love will turn you on.
Wait a minute. Dave and I are trying not to register the surprise on our face.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have any expectations otherwise? Really?
Yes.
Did you?
Well, yes, I did. I did.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm sure you're very much a glass. You're no slouch and no Pollyanna by any stretch, but you're a classy lady and a classy Southern lady, and I'm sure you're a glass half full kind of lady. But even then, you're of the same generation as me. Yoko, she broke up the Beatles, man. I mean,
Alanna was. Let me guess. Was the astrological. I couldn't even think of that word. Were they not aligned on that day? Because she was very much into astrology.
Well, we didn't discuss that, but it was 2 different interviews over a period of years. And she just did not like the things I asked her, apparently, because she berated me both times and at one point acted as if her English wasn't very good, so she couldn't understand the question. So,
you can't buy it.
That's awesome.
Hilarious.
Me no speak English. Yeah.
Soldier Boy.
You got
$5, Soldier Boy.
You got chewing gum?
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. She just beat me to a pulp. I just both times.
Yeah, I never saw her. I never got to meet her personally or do any interviewing with her. But just when I saw her interviews on television and her presentation, and jokes aside about, although I was part of the generation that we initially thought she broke them up, she didn't, and la la la. But she always gave off a sense of holier than thou to me and my peers.
Yeah.
It was just...
Well, I know a woman who they love each other and get along really well. And that lady has something I don't have, apparently. So,
yeah.
But I had a very tough time with Yoko twice.
Well, you would have been the first not to, so that would have been a major breakthrough for you. But there you go.
That's crazy.
Let's wander away for just a second. I got one more AI question I'm going to throw you before we finish up. But Dave said something about wanting to, you had mentioned, we put down a note, didn't we, about recent projects?
Yes.
He said be sure and put that in the thing.
Yeah.
See how we rehearse these things? We're talking here. We're planning the show as we're doing the show. So
right.
Take it, Dave.
So how's the book on Elizabeth coming?
Well, the book on Elizabeth has yet to be written, except for the introduction. I had a world of research to do. This is my friend who died of an accidental overdose of hydrocodone, which was prescribed after double knee surgery, but prescribed by a pain clinic for 3.5 years after those surgeries. And, of course, she became addicted to it, and you need more and more to achieve the same effect, and it got her.
Yeah, you build up a tolerance.
Yep, right. And Elizabeth had struggled with mental illness and addiction problems, always prescription pills, but had struggled for many years. I knew her for 16 years, and she struggled all that time despite 3 rehabs and a lot of psychiatric help, and she just couldn't get over it, past it, couldn't get it under control.
Now, quick question with the rehabs: was she checking herself in?
No.
Forcing her in?
Yes, which of course doesn't usually work.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't usually work.
Yeah, she didn't think it was a problem, even down to the couple of days before she died. She didn't think it was a problem. But she was a very smart person. She was working on her PhD when I met her. She couldn't write her dissertation because of her addiction and concentration problems, but a very smart, extremely loving, kind, wonderful, funny person. And I wanted to know why she couldn't get well. We had started this book together, and it was supposed to be about how she had beat her addiction. And we started it when the Dummies books were popular. So it was, she said, I can't write straight. I can only write funny. And I said, well, I can write straight if you handle the funny part. So it was going to be Rehab for Dummies. And it was going to be about how she beat all this and her experiences in rehab. But she just, after writing about 5 stories for it, she just couldn't concentrate enough to do it anymore. So I promised her that if this got her, I would finish this book. But of course, when she died, then it turned into a different kind of book because I wanted to know why she couldn't get well.
Right.
And so then it became my quest to answer that question and what I found as a result of that. So that took me really down a rabbit hole and 8 years of research. So now I've finished the research, although each time I think that I've finished it, something else comes up. There's a cousin that she never knew in the Midwest whose cause of death on the death certificate and what the family was told was suicide in a motel room. And he had struggled with substance abuse, and he had struggled with psychiatric issues. But I got the police report for that recently, and I'm reading it, and I was reminded of something that another of his cousins told me, which was this guy's mother always thought he was murdered, that it wasn't a suicide, that it was a murder. And as I'm reading this police report, I'm thinking, my gosh, I think this guy really was murdered.
Wow.
So there's a lot to suggest that he was. Let me just put it that way. But so I'm still looking into that. But the guy I think might have done it is still alive, so I have to be careful what I say.
Oh, wow.
But just when I think it's all over research-wise, then something else pops up. But the other problem with this book is that publishers will see it as a memoir, and that's the one genre that they do not normally give an advance for unless you're super famous. Of course, I'm not. So that means you have to write the whole thing and then submit it to an agent.
Oh, okay.
Submit it to publishers. Well, that's a year or a year and a half of writing and polishing.
Right.
And I don't have the money to sit here and just do that for 18 months. So I've raised some money on GoFundMe, and I've gotten a fiscal sponsorship through an organization in California, but I'm way, way, way short of what I need to just sit here and write that book. But I do feel it is probably the last book I will write and the most important book I will write. So I'll keep knocking on doors.
Is there any way to curb that writing into like a self-help? Well, not self-help, but a help book for addiction? I mean, I'm not a writer per se.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the components of this book will help people who struggle with addiction and mental illness, and also families who have lost someone in a similar way. That is my hope, that it will help folks. And one of the things just the research has done is the fellow who told me about his cousin who died in a motel room didn't know about Elizabeth and her problems, but there's a lot of addiction on his side of the family, and he gathered his family together, the kids, and said, if you think you might be struggling with this, I want you to be honest with us about it and come to us. If you think you need professional help, don't feel shame about it.
Right.
Get it all out into the open. If that book could help families, wow, that would be such an achievement. I would be so grateful.
If it saves one life, I mean, that's worth doing.
Even one life.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any other projects? We talked about your Sting.
Yeah, what he wants to know is, what do you do in your spare time?
Well, I'm trying to inventory this Dolly Parton collection. Well, you have to do this inventory and then get it appraised. It's a long process.
Yeah.
But I'm also finishing I do ghostwriting for private individuals who just want to leave behind a book about their lives for families and friends, and I've been working on one for several years now with a local public relations guy who achieved quite a lot when he was at the University of Kentucky. He was the editor of the paper there. And black athletes were not admitted to the SEC at that time. And he, through the editorials and the reporting of his staff, pretty much shamed the University of Kentucky into accepting black players and then the SEC.
Oh, wow.
That is quite an
Yeah, that is a life worth living.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we're about finished with that.
Right.
And then we'll see what happens.
And then I had one question I told Scott, and I know that you're not a fan of his work. The guy that did the Elvis, what's his name, Baz Luhrmann?
Baz Luhrmann, yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you...
I like that documentary. Yeah.
Did you like Epic, the concert?
I did. I was really moved by it.
Well, you know why you were? Because you're a percussionist like me. And yes, I noticed in that movie that Elvis was merely a prop for the band. That band was so talented. I was not even paying attention to Elvis. I was paying attention to the band.
Yes. And did you notice that they're not credited in the film?
I did notice that.
Mm-hmm. Baz isn't big on sharing credit.
But I just wanted to know your opinion. I'm glad you watched it and liked it. So because
I really did.
Yeah. He does get some credit. He put that together, but did not really alter anything, or like he did with the Elvis movie. This was more of like a documentary, which I really enjoyed. I love documentaries. So does Scott.
Me too. It was terrific. It was really terrific, and it really captured why Elvis is remembered as such a great talent.
Yeah, let's bring Scott back into the conversation. He's fell asleep. Wake up, Scott.
I was listening. It was very engaging. You guys,
a Trump.
No, you guys, you do the clam, man. You guys have a natural rapport. You should think about working together at some point. I had two semi-deep thoughts. Number one is just going back to this thing about this guy and the murder, and maybe it was and maybe it wasn't. By all means, we implore you to be careful, because we don't want to see you ending up on Dateline.
No.
That was the first thing. The second thing was, as far as what you have to do to get this very important work that you're working on past the lack of ability to see past the end of their faces, publishers, I'm wondering if there's a way, if you want me to, I'd be happy to put together a little thing called book screening for dummies, and then we can just send it to anonymously to these guys so they can figure out, hey, look, idiot. But seriously, what I was thinking about was, I don't know how it is in book publishing, because you're the experienced expert there, but I can tell you that even as long ago as when I first got into songwriting, which was 50 years ago now, and haven't really done anything with it, that it was very much like that in the days when there was a time when you could walk down into a place in Music Row, a publishing house, and you could have a work tape of a guitar and a voice, or a piano and a voice, and play it for a producer or even an artist, and they could get some sense of whether they liked it or not, and blah, blah, blah. But very soon, and long before I ever left Nashville, which has been 30 years ago, it had gotten to the point where the only way you could get them to even listen to the damn thing was to have a fully blown, recorded, produced demo that sounded almost like a ready-to-release record. Because they were either too lazy or too stupid to be able to hear anything. You had to give them the whole picture, exactly what you're talking about. My old PTSD in the studio thing was ringing when you were talking about this with this book. We know about it because we've talked about it, and we've kind of been involved with you connectively and et cetera. But for folks, it's not brain surgery. It's a simple premise. What you're doing is wonderful and important, and anybody with a brain in their head shouldn't have to have it explained to them chapter and verse. And I think that's, hello, Scott. Welcome to life in the world and on planet Earth. But what a shame that you have to put that kind of effort,
that you have to
the kind of energy that has to be put into that, when instead of spending your energy on hoop jumping, you could be spending it where you really want to spend it, which is to getting to the very best presentation that you're going to do anyway.
Yes.
That's the end of my speech. I was just feeling pulpity there.
Good one.
That was what I was doing while you guys were talking. I was writing that out so I could do it right. All right, so let me just grab this last thing here so I can say we did, because AI did a magnificent job. Yeah, Alan, there you go, buddy. Up with,
I'm Dr. Larian Gillespie, and you're listening to the Alanna Nash interview on the audio files.
Last AI question, I thought, blow it past, but I'll throw it out. What the hell? And I'm going to give you my AI tone. You've learned so much about so many. What has Alanna Nash learned about Alanna Nash? Other than perhaps you should stop answering the phone when you see us on the caller ID. But what?
I have learned that when I ask a question of somebody in an interview, I need to ask the question and then shut up. When I listened to some of these interviews I've done, I thought, good Lord, girl, hush. Just let them talk and then follow up. I used to think I was pretty good at follow-up questions, but I see now, listening to these early tapes, that I missed so many opportunities to ask follow-up questions that might have elicited wonderful answers. So I'm still working on the shut up part. That's, I've been at this since I was 14, and now I'm an old lady, but I'm still trying to learn how to just close my mouth.
It's hard.
It is.
Because especially when the conversation is engaging and it gets your brain going 100 miles an hour, and give yourself a little, I'm not telling you everything you don't already know, but the key phrase in what you just said was you said young, or early, or whatever that was. Well, of course, you were new and you were early, and you didn't know how, because nobody knows how to do nothing until they finally do, if they ever do. So there's that. I'm going to throw this one to you, and this is, I promise, the last of it. And AI didn't write this, I did, and I thought, hey, I can do AI because I'm artificially intelligent. So we'll call this the inkblot question. And it's kind of the same thing that AI just asked, but I think it's a little bit different. Since you've been such a good sport about not going, oh, Jesus, these are lame questions, I'm going to throw this one at you too, because it's in the same bag. If you had never, and again, who's to say, but I'm wondering what your brain will process this with. If you had never become Alanna Nash, as in by Alanna Nash, who do you think Alanna Nash would have become?
I think either a psychologist or a police detective.
Or a drummer.
Or a drummer, yeah.
Or a drummer.
If I had a little more talent. Yeah.
Detective Buddy Rich.
Your talent, for sure.
Yeah.
Detective Buddy Rich, I like that.
Well, I made a note. I wrote the question now because I wanted to ask it the way I did. And in my own notes, just as I said, and I didn't add that just now, I said, if you've never become Alanna Nash, who do you think would Alanna Nash have become? And then I wrote, besides the legendary drummer for the legendary all-girls 60s band, the Trends, not the Trends, like Trans, but the Trends,
well,
Trends.
We really would have been ahead of our time if we had been.
Well, if you'd have been the Trends, right on the forefront.
Yeah.
And if there had been a Dateline in those days, boy, you'd have been on it. No, that's how tolerant we are.
Gosh.
We love you almost more than life itself.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Well, right back to you. You're very, very fun and smart, and you're so kind to have me on all over and over. I'm sure people are sick to death of
No. They're a little tired of Dave making fun of me.
Right.
Moving on up to the side, to the deluxe apartments in the sky.
Alanna, I have to tell you, like some of the people, especially your last interview with Anolo and all that stuff, they were like, she is fascinating. I'm like, you have no idea.
I thank you, but I kind of worried after that interview that maybe people were just so turned off by it that they're like, oh, this woman. So,
no, I think people, and he's been gone long enough, I think people want to know things that they never knew about somebody like an Elvis Presley.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to laugh at that, but it's also really sad.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's really sad that he was in that headspace and just tired. Just so tired.
Yeah.
So tired.
Well, it accomplished something, though, and that's one of the things, jokes aside and all the asterisk stuff at the very beginning of this episode, because I reiterate it from time to time just for disclaimer purposes. One of the things that I always make my goal, and we do it more with you because we've become friends and we're more relaxed with each other and trust each other in terms of our conversation. But one of the things that I've always done as an interviewer and the radio shows that I've never done anything to the extent that you've done to turn it into books, but I've done a lot of phoners on the air and stuff like that. My goal is always, first and initially and always, to make the person, and you know what I'm going to say is like, duh, for you and I and people like us, but for others maybe not so, is to make them, number one, comfortable right off the bat or as soon as possible.
Yes.
But second of all, to convey, and usually subliminally, because that way it's more effective, sending the message to them that, you know what, I'm not going to ask you the same 12 questions you've been asked 47 fucking times. I'm going to say something that you've never been asked before, and that's going to engage that part of your brain that kind of put yourself in cruise control when you're doing interviews, and then open conversation leads to new person. And like this episode, for example, is another example, as well as we know each other after you've been with us 4 or 5 or 6 times now. They've learned a lot in this episode about you.
Yes.
As a person, and you, how interesting you are, your sense of humor, your sensibilities, your wit, your intelligence, your accomplishments, your talent. And we consider that an accomplishment. We're happy that we've been able to do that and grateful that we've become close enough friends for that to happen. So there you go.
Well, you both have a wonderfully engaging style, and it's always a pleasure to visit with you. And thank you so much for having me. Really, truly.
Anytime you want to come on, and don't have it just us call you. You call us and say, "Hey, I had something to say." Put me on.
I think when you have my friend Larry and Gillespie on to talk about Houdini, this is a book that it's just now coming out, and I had the pleasure of editing. Larry and Gillespie has been a friend of mine for more than 30 years. I think once you have Larry on, I will never hear my phone ring from you again because you will just want to have her.
No, I'm serious about the little panel. If we had you and me and Dave, and I'm sure instinctively Larry and you, that would be a fun little different kind of thing.
It would be.
In the end, we'll bounce that around. So everybody stay healthy.
Yes.
And we'll meet this time next year at the corner of Witty and Urbane. How about that?
It's a deal.
Hey, if you need us, you know where to find us, okay?
Thank you. Likewise.
All right,
love
sweetheart.
you guys. Thank you.
Back to you.
You're the best.
Bye-bye.
Oh, tell me your story. Tell me your story. Throw me some light. Show me some light. Then I'll make you famous. One word at a time. You'll be a bestseller. Be a queen. A king or a queen. King or a queen. 'Cause I got the right stuff. If you know what I mean. Call me Alanna. Alanna's a name. It's not Alanna. Just ask my friend Dave.
The Audio Files is produced in the United States of America. Questions, comments, and witty banter welcome. AudioFilesBroadcast@gmail.com.
Call me Alanna. You can say it with ease. Alanna like Atlanta. With no cheese. Call me Alanna. Atlanta's a name.
The Audio Files.
Do the clam, man.
Do the clam.